is the world you are graduating into. This is what I want to talk about today with you for a few minutes. To lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
But Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but we don't know yet for certain. I'll know within 20 minutes.
Crowley was an aspiring movie producer who murdered his wife and daughter before taking his own life.
But the murder-suicide was far from cut and dry. Tonight, new and disturbing details we've never heard before. Tom Lydon of the Fox 9 Investigators has been given unprecedented access, and he's here to tell us what he's learned. And Tom, some of this will be very difficult to hear.
You know, some of it will be, but I think you're going to see that it's important at this point to really get all the facts out on the table. I think that's the most important thing here. For the last year, this case has become the subject of much speculation and plenty of theories on the internet, most of it completely wrong. The reality is the truth of what happened to David Crowley and his family is stranger and sadder than anyone imagined.
45S41, I'm in the area.
To the right of the RP sees dead bodies inside the house, dog inside, sees a gun in the house on the floor.
To look at the three of them through the Instagram filter of life, it's hard to imagine how it all went so wrong. David Crowley, a talented, promising young filmmaker, his smart and beautiful wife, Kamel, a dietitian, and their adorable 5-year-old daughter, Rania, living on a quiet street in Apple Valley, in a home that contained their many dreams and one horrific nightmare.
This is the ideal family, seemingly, and everything went terribly wrong.
My impression is it was very intense in the early days of this investigation.
Apple Valley police recently closed their exhaustive year-long investigation, and for the first time are sharing their findings with the Fox 9 investigators.
As you sit here today, a year later, do you have an idea of what those final moments looked like?
It was horrifying. You have a tragic loss of an entire family. It looks like David snapped and took the lives of his wife and daughter, and then ultimately himself.
So let's dedicate this to General Kelly, the Border Patrol, and the ICE agents for doing such an incredible job. All right? This was written by Al Wilson a long time ago. And I thought of it having to do with our borders and people coming in. And we know what we're going to have. We're going to have problems. We have to very, very carefully vet. We have to be smart. We have to be vigilant. So here it is, the snake. It's called The Snake. On her way to work one morning, down the path along the lake, a tender-hearted woman saw a poor, half-frozen snake. His pretty-colored skin had been all frosted with the dew. "Poor thing," she cried, "I'll take you in, and I'll take care of you." The border. "I have saved you," cried the woman, "and you've bitten me, heavens, why? You know your bite is poisonous, and now I'm going to die." "Oh, shut up, silly woman," said the reptile with a grin. "You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in." Does that explain it, folks? Does that explain?
And it was a very sad scene, you know, during the holidays, a beautiful family, and just tragically lost.
And from the start, it was a case wrapped in suspicion and mystery.
Here's the red flags.
With paranoid theories all over the internet.
Guys out here going after the truth get knocked off.
That the Crowleys were murdered as some kind of government conspiracy.
Did the government want to silence him and his film?
All because of a personal film project David Crowley had worked on obsessively for years, called Gray State. This is a concept trailer for Gray State, which imagines the U.S. government taking away all our liberties, FEMA turning into a militarized, occupying police force,
In short, the gray state is the culminating manifestation of the darkest trends our negligence and malignancy have to offer.
Because I think at the tail end of it, he was living the gray state.
Danny Mason was a co-producer on Gray State.
It almost embodied him, almost to the extent of where it would dictate a lot of his thoughts and his ideas and his, I guess, outlook in reality.
Investigators spent months sifting through 20 terabytes of video David Crowley had kept on more than a dozen hard drives, looking for clues.
Trust in me.
How much of this do you think had to do with the film?
I think a great deal. From all accounts, he was consumed with producing this film, and it was a dark topic. Here you're talking about conspiracy theories and potentially the fall of society, and if you're focusing on that day in and day out, and those are materials you're working with, and you're filming exclusively on that topic, that can take you to a very bad place.
So you think he literally went down the rabbit hole of these conspiracy theories and just couldn't separate himself from it?
I believe so.
In the summer of 2014, Crowley traveled to Hollywood to meet with producers interested in Gray State. But by fall, the deal had fizzled, and the couple began withdrawing from friends and family. Kamel had told her family she was the sole breadwinner, that she was not physically or emotionally abused, but the financial struggles made her question the marriage.
He just lost his way, financially lost his way, life, stress.
When his friend Mason Hendricks stopped by to see him, it was like meeting someone he didn't know. David wouldn't even invite him in the home.
He looked like he literally was sleeping, and breathing on his computer. Failure was not an option for him.
By October, the family was essentially cut off from the world. David and Kamel stopped talking to their families, asking everyone to stay away, even changing their phone numbers. David's brother left their Christmas presents on the front step to avoid a confrontation.
President Trump spent more than 3 hours touting what he sees as his administration's achievements at his cabinet meeting today. He weighed in on everything from crime rates to Taylor Swift to prescription drugs. But it was his comments about reinstating the death penalty for murder cases in Washington, D.C. that we will start with tonight. Political correspondent Lisa Desjardins joins us now. Good to see you.
You too.
So we should note that this comes amid his larger proclaimed crackdown on crime in Washington, D.C. But what did the president announce when it comes to the death penalty in D.C.?
Let's start with exactly what the president said. This announcement came during an unrelated part of this meeting, which was about education. But during that, the president interjected this announcement.
Capital punishment, capital punishment. If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty.
And there the gift stayed for 3 weeks, until January 17th last year. Concerned neighbors discovered the 3 bodies looking in the front window. A sliding back door was found slightly ajar, apparently for the family dog. But there were no footprints in the snow. No sign of forced entry. Inside, detectives would find a scene of domestic horror and normalcy. Teasing little love notes the couple left for each other around the house, an innocent child's room. Much of the crime scene itself we will not show you. All 3 bodies were found in the living room next to each other. They were badly decomposed and scavenged by the family dog. Judging by the mail piling up and a paper in the home, the murder-suicide took place the day after Christmas.
And by the way, this is a first for Indiana. Our new slogan, for 2020? You know what it is? Keep America great.
This July, have your voice be heard.
I purged.
I purged.
I purged.
I purged.
I purged because staying in is un-American.
Don't let your freedoms get taken away.
I purged because it's my civic duty.
Show your support
I purged for my family.
for the purge.
I purged to keep my country great.
Keep America great.
The Purge election year.
I will bring back free speech in America. And finally, to restore pride in our history and confidence in our future, I will lead a massive year-long salute to America to celebrate the 250th anniversary. On July 4th, this was July 4th, 1776, okay? There are other dates you hear about, but this is the date that we recognize, 1776, and we're going to have a big celebration, and it's going to be a celebration like we really deserve in this country for everything we've gone through. With you at my side, we will give our nation's founding the amazing anniversary party that America needs and so richly deserves.
David shooting Kamel twice in the head, Rania once, before shooting himself. Between their bodies, a Quran with pages torn out, opened to a traditional forgiveness prayer. And there on the wall, above the bodies, scrawled in blood, the words, Allah Akbar.
All right, next story. This is, we're in the midst of this coronavirus. People are sheltering in their homes. They're not supposed to go out. You've got law enforcement, police, trying to enforce this and advise the community. Something strange happened in Louisiana. And if any of you have ever seen the movie The Purge, you're going to recognize the sound that Chanley Painter is talking about tonight.
Bro, what the heck, man? They coming around again.
This blaring sound startled many in the small town of Crowley, Louisiana.
All of a sudden, you just hear The Purge, which is going, I know it's famous right now. It just caused a lot of havoc, a lot of chaos. You hear the sirens blaring. They're just super loud. My dog freaks out. Neighbors coming outside, checking out what was going on, yelling, just upset about it.
The police sounding an alarm to signify the start of curfew. From 9 at night to 6 in the morning, Crowley residents must remain at home to curb the spread of COVID-19.
As we examined it, we didn't want to go through with our regular sirens because we didn't want to create more havoc. And one of the officers who is military approached me and said, well, Chief, there is an old military siren that was used. It was used in the movie Purge, but it's been used for many, many years. And after listening to it, I said, well, it's a more muffled tone. It, wouldn't create to me as much havoc.
This is your emergency broadcast system.
The movie, which stars Ethan Hawke, features an annual day known as The Purge, when all crimes, including murder, are legal for a 12-hour period. People who don't want to become victims lock themselves in their homes. The start of this period is signaled by a horn. The same sound Crowley police used to announce the COVID curfew.
It made a lot of people very on edge.
Ty Abshire, a Crowley native, was outside walking his dog when he heard the purge alarm.
I could hear it from about 3 blocks away, and it was still super loud from 3 blocks away.
The siren was intended to be a public safety message, according to the Crowley police chief.
It was to remind people that this is a very serious matter. It's a very serious disease. It's a very serious pandemic going on. I think part of the issue is people are not seeing, even if they look at the statistics, it's not real to them.
But some didn't take it quite that way and took to social media.
I saw a lot of posts saying, oh, I know who I'm going to kill tonight. I know who's next on my list, things like that. Some people were joking. Some people you just never know.
While some residents were upset, Others, like Lee Wright, thought it was entertaining.
I actually recognized it as a pre-existing emergency preparedness notification siren. So we laughed about it. We thought it was quite humorous.
The state of Louisiana is one of the hardest hit areas by the pandemic. In fact, the state has the 4th highest rate of infection, behind New York, New Jersey, and Michigan. Crowley police have stopped using the siren, but the chief says it achieved its goal.
Our purpose was to let people know, and if they know now, even through this, how dangerous this pandemic is, how dangerous this COVID-19 is, then okay, it was accomplished.
God is the greatest.
Who wrote Allah Akbar on the wall?
He did.
In her blood?
Yes.
Why did he do that?
We believe that was just kind of a parting shot.
To who?
Probably at her for having a Muslim past.
David did not kill himself right away. He left a trail of footprints, tracking Kamel's blood through the house. In the living room, his bloody fingerprint is on a laptop, open to a text file with only a single sentence. I have loved you all with all of my heart. In the home office, on a notepad, more bloody fingerprints and the words, submit to Allah now.
I think that it is a good thing that he did this, that he's taking it to this extent, but I think we should have gone out and let people know, hey, this is the specific siren you were going to hear at 9 o'clock. So that wasn't so much of a surprise to us.
This one has me puzzled on many different levels.
This is a person that was not thinking clearly, committed a horrible act by taking those lives. And his mind at that point was deranged. He just was not in a normal state. He wasn't thinking rationally.
What do you make of him scrawling Allah Akbar?
That, I believe, that's David being sarcastic. That's him possibly throwing a jab.
A jab at Kamel's family?
Possibly.
Kamel, who was born and raised in Pakistan, had converted from Islam to Christianity when the couple married. He was in the army, she was in college, but religion never seemed to play a significant role in their lives, according to family and friends. Allah Akbar they see as a twisted riddle, like something from one of David's scripts. A plot twist without resolution. We may never know what made David Crowley finally snap. Certainly the conspiracy theorists will fill in some of those gaps. But we do know this, there are some 1,500 murder-suicides in the U.S. every year. They account for about 5% of all homicides, and their numbers seem to be increasing. And the Crowley case certainly fit the pattern of domestic violence.
Okay, with that, let's bring in Ambassador Monica Crowley. She is currently U.S. Chief of Protocol. We watched her welcoming all of these leaders to the White House. She served as Assistant Secretary in the Treasury in the first Trump administration and a foreign policy assistant to former President Nixon. Monica, great to see you. Welcome to the program. You have been very, very busy. Here's a photo of you shaking hands with President Putin on the tarmac in Alaska. And then we have you welcoming all of these foreign leaders as they came to the White House the other day. And take a look at the East Room. I just want to move through these images because there were translator booths set up in the East Room. There's a ladder in the back of the room and a bunch of people sitting at microphones to try to translate all of these conversations. So how'd you pull that off, and how much time did you have to make this happen?
Well, it's great to be with you, Martha. Thank you so much. Yeah, we were returning from Alaska, which was a very productive meeting between Presidents Trump and Putin. We were coming back to Washington, D.C., and at about 2 a.m. on Saturday morning, while we were still on the plane, the President was making a series of phone calls around the world, and we heard that President Zelensky was coming to the White House at 1 p.m. on Monday. So we essentially had 36 hours to gather 8 world leaders, including 6 heads of state, gather them at the White House and make sure every detail was taken care of to ensure the greatest environment, Martha, for the most robust, effective diplomacy.
The greatest moment in my life was revealing itself.
operation was a success. The voice of Aiwas, one of the secret chiefs and my guardian angel, through Quada, was instructing me that a new dawn was coming for mankind and that I was the one chosen to initiate it.
I am the chosen one.
I was told by Quada to go into my temple on the 8th of April at 12 noon and to write down everything I heard. I followed my instruction.
Locked in his temple, Crowley wrote solidly for 1 hour. The same procedure was followed the next day, and again on the 3rd, until finally the message from Aiwas was complete. What he had written down would later become one of Crowley's most infamous works, known as the Book of the Law, the doctrine which the new order would follow, and Crowley himself would be the chief of that new order. The Beast 666 and his Scarlet Woman Rose. "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law," was probably the most famous line from this book. But there are also within the work prophecies and revelations which would leave even the most skeptic of minds wondering. "And my number is 9 by the fools. My number is 11, as all their numbers who are of us. Hail, ye twin warriors about the pillars of the world, for your time is nigh at hand."
So what do you think of my Trump Home mattress collection by Serta? Finally, the same luxury and comfort I demand in my hotels.
Oh, they'll never count sheep again.
Listen, why don't you come work for me?
What do you have in mind?
Something you were born to do.
Welcome to Room 9.
Looking good, number 9, looking good.
Where's your dignity?
For I have crushed an universe, and naught remains. Whoever disregards this does so at his own risk and peril. These are most dire.
Well, I was aware at the time that there existed a certain amount of prophecy in the words of Aiwas. After all, a new eon was coming.
This is the dawn of a new eon. None of us can stand on the sidelines, especially those of us with the power to bend the world to our will.
Supporters of the far-right Golden Dawn have taken to the streets of the Greek capital, Athens, in an anti-immigration protest. Marchers expressed fury at the number of migrants remaining in Greece since the closure of the Balkan route into Europe.
Our country is an open field. Everyone can come whenever they want and they can leave whenever they want. We would like to follow a policy like Donald Trump is doing in the States right now.
A counter anti-fascist march took place at the same time in another part of the city. Police say both groups were kept well apart and clashes were avoided.
Hello to you from a freezing cold Washington, where Donald Trump has been sworn in for a second term as the 47th President of the United States. In his inaugural address, he promised to put America first and said he'd immediately start signing orders to prevent illegal migration, encourage oil exploitation and scrap government diversity programs, moves that will delight the millions of people who voted for him and send shockwaves right around the world.
It's been a long journey back to the centre of power, overcoming criminal indictments, 1 conviction and 2 assassination attempts to perform the ultimate political comeback. After all that, he was then defeated by his wife's hat, before promising to start a new era in America.
The golden age of America begins right now.
The Order of the Golden Dawn is a mystical organization founded in 1888 by Freemasons William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman. The order's teachings were based on the Hermetic tradition, which draws on ancient Egyptian and Greek mysticism, as well as the works of Eliphas Levi, the Rosicrucians, and the Kabbalah. The order's system of initiation is divided into 3 grades: the outer order, the inner order, and the secret order, each with its own set of teachings and rituals. Members must pass through each grade to advance to the next. The order's rituals are designed to evoke the energies and entities of the spiritual realm, and members work with various spiritual entities to achieve spiritual enlightenment from
your involvement in the Golden Dawn.
Oh, my involvement in the Golden Dawn is in so much as I was very interested actually in Eastern and Western mysticism, and I spent time reading and researching when I was younger. Yeah, I guess that's it. That's there were some very eminent characters in the Golden Dawn, and I found it very interesting to see the history of those that had been in it, and this sort of esoteric movement, and also sort of what went on, the offshoots of it, of that sort of love of all things mystical and magical, all things bright and beautiful, really.
Making big promises about transforming the country.
A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world. And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before.
Do you think that's why people did that thing when they played Stairway to Heaven backwards and said that you were talking about Satan?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm going to go straight back to the Beatles here, because there was a time when somebody wrote a thesis about Paul McCartney being dead, and Paul is dead. And if you played back the records, I'm very serious here, it's crazy, but if you played back the records, there was something which said Paul is dead. And so then they started to play back all manner of records, and of course we were going to be main candidates for it. And somebody said, oh, it says My Sweet Satan in it. And I thought, oh gosh, it's hard enough writing the music one way round rather than that way.
True love for our people requires us to find common ground, to advance the common good, and to cooperate on behalf of every American child who deserves a much brighter future.
Θα πέσετε όμως δημοκρατικά από την πλειοψηφία του ελληνικού λαού. Τότε λοιπόν, αναφέρει το έγκριτο αμερικανικό περιοδικό The Week, πρώτη δύναμη θα είναι η Χρυσή Αυγή στην Ελλάδα. Ο Λαϊκός Σύνδεσμος Χρυσή Αυγή θα είναι πρώτη δύναμη εκλογικά στην Ελλάδα, και αυτό είναι το αισιόδοξο μήνυμα, γιατί ένας τέτοιος πατριωτικός άνεμος πλέει σε όλη την Ευρώπη, πνέει και στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες, όπου προκύπτει ότι ο επόμενος πρόεδρος θα είναι ένας πατριώτης πρόεδρος, ένας πρόεδρος που δεν θέλει λαθρομετανάστες στη χώρα του, που θέλει τους πολίτες κάθε χώρας να είναι κυρίαρχοι στη χώρα αυτή και όχι οι ξένοι. Θα αλλάξουν οι γεωπολιτικές ισορροπίες, και το πιο ενδιαφέρον απ' όλα είναι ότι τον αυριανό πρόεδρο των Ηνωμένων Πολιτειών,
An incredible young woman is with us this evening who should serve as an inspiration to us all. Today is Rare Disease Day, and joining us in the gallery is a rare disease survivor, Megan Crowley. Megan Megan was diagnosed with Pompe disease, a rare and serious illness, when she was 15 months old.
Welcome to Pompeii, a city frozen in time, destroyed in a moment, and preserved for eternity. Before its fateful end, Pompeii was a bustling and prosperous city. It was a place of luxury, with beautiful villas, elaborate mosaics, and bustling streets. But on that fateful day in 79 AD, the mighty Mount Vesuvius erupted, sending a cascade of ash and pumice raining down on the city. Homes were buried, streets were engulfed, and life as they knew it came to an end. The eruption was so powerful that it buried the city under 20 feet of ash and pumice. But amidst the tragedy, the city was frozen in time. Today, Pompeii remains one of the world's most renowned archaeological sites, offering a glimpse into the lives of the ancient Romans.
τον Τον υποστηρίζει στην Ελλάδα μόνο η Χρυσή Αυγή, δηλαδή η τρίτη πολιτική δύναμη της χώρας, και το κόμμα της Νέας Δημοκρατίας, το κόμμα του ΣΥΡΙΖΑ, κυβέρνηση και αντιπολίτευση, συντάσσονται με την Κλίντον, η οποία είναι υπέρ όλων των ανθελληνικών θέσεων, όλων των θέσεων που είναι σε βάρος της Ελλάδος.
She was not expected to live past 5. On receiving this news, Megan's dad, John, fought with everything he had to save the life of his precious child. He founded a company to look for a cure and helped develop the drug that saved Megan's life. Today, she is 20 years old and a sophomore at Notre Dame.
That siren, known by many from the movie The Purge, was not received well by some living in Crowley. Chris Walty spoke to the chief on his decision to sound the siren as a part of the city's curfew.
Crowley Police Chief Jimmy Broussard says he's never seen The Purge, but he knows the sound to be an old military siren. Since the alert Thursday night, the department has received mixed messages about their curfew warning to residents. Ty Abshire was caught off guard when he heard the Purge siren echoing through the streets of Crowley around 9 o'clock Thursday night.
It was just crazy. I knew they had the curfew, but nobody was expecting to hear that kind of siren.
Police Chief Jimmy Broussard says his intent was never to scare anyone.
As we examined it, we didn't want to go through with our regular sirens because we didn't want to create more havoc. And one of the officers who is military approached me and said, well, you know, Chief, there is an old military siren that was used. It was used in the movie Purge, but it's been used for many, many years. And after listening to it, I said, well, it's a more muffled tone. It, wouldn't create to me as much havoc.
March 26th, President Trump approves federal emergency aid for the state of Illinois. James Joseph, FEMA's Regional 5 administrator, moves into action. He says there's a federal plan for every disaster imaginable, including a deadly pandemic.
We're using the playbook, and we're actually writing some new policies along the way.
See this crap? Somebody knows I'm talking to you. Not according to the men in blue. Oh, what is it this time? Kiddie porn again? Sexual battery of a patient. They want to discredit you for what? Because I'm a dangerous man. Because I know too much about the truth. Now that end of the world apocalyptic garbage, you right? You know my work? I was right about Dallas, wasn't I? How were you right? Are you familiar with the hantavirus, Agent Mulder? Yeah, it was a deadly virus spread by field mice in the southwestern United States several years ago. According to the newspaper, FEMA was called out to manage an outbreak of the hantavirus. Are you familiar with what the Federal Emergency Management Agency's real power is? FEMA allows the White House to suspend constitutional government upon declaration of a national emergency. Think about that. What is an agency with such broad sweeping power doing managing a small viral outbreak in suburban Texas? You're saying it wasn't such a small outbreak? No. I'm saying it wasn't the hantavirus. Well, what was it? What was it? When we were young men in the military, your father and I were recruited for a project. They told us it was biological warfare or a virus. What killed those men? What killed them, I won't even write about. We have no context for what killed those men, or any appreciation of the scale at which it'll be unleashed in the future. A plague? The plague to end all plagues, Agent Mulder. A silent weapon for a quiet war. The systematic release of an indiscriminate organism for which the men who will bring it on still have no cure. They've been working on this for 50 years. While the rest of the world have been fighting gooks and commies, these men have been secretly negotiating a planned Armageddon. Negotiating with whom? I think you know. The timetable has been set. It'll happen on a holiday when people are away from their homes. The president will declare a state of emergency, at which time all government, all federal agencies will come under the power of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA.
Last night I dreamt about how things were.
Of every enemy of the state!
And then I woke up here.
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
Tell me, how did you two end up working together? What was the League thinking?
What League?
Oh, come. I'm not a fool. The No Name League.
We're not working for the No Name League.
Really? Next you'll tell me you're not spying on them for the CIA.
That's a strange idea. Not true.
You're CIA?
I'm not.
Of course. I should have guessed. The CIA? Like, the CIA?
I am not. Where'd you get such a notion?
My boss. Where else?
Okay, listen, it is extremely dangerous to spread that kind of a lie.
Ooh. See his teeth? Yes. Deceptively sharp. There's a beast inside this one.
I am so impressed, Tommy. For real, the CIA? Have you killed people?
I repeat, no.
CIA. Wow.
Never mind the CIA, which I'm not a member of. Let me get this straight. In exchange for my sister's liberty, I have to sell... I have to sell my soul to the devil.
Precisely. What do you say?
I'll give you 50,000 to hand her over.
I'm not a gun package.
I don't want your money.
If the devil is real, don't you think my actual soul is a bit of a high price to stop you debauching my sister? She's not Snow White. 200,000 pounds.
You get much more than Patricia in return. You get my master's eternal friendship. You're a smart businessman, Mr. Wayne. Think of that. Think of the power you'll have.
I have power now, you fool. I could buy and sell the likes of you.
See now, there's the beast inside of you. The real Thomas Wayne is emerging.
Okay. Fine. I'll play along with your ludicrous charade. You're Lucifer's servant. I don't negotiate with underlings. Let me speak with your boss.
Well, as a rule, he doesn't grant personal audiences, except to saints and the like. But there's no harm in asking.
All US states have now been placed under a federal disaster declaration in a record first for the country. President Trump approved Wyoming as the final state to be placed under a disaster declaration, which allows for federal funds to be used by state and local governments during the pandemic. The United States, which has become the world's most affected country, has confirmed more than 540,000 cases and more than 21,000 deaths. President Trump likened the pandemic to the plague during an Easter message.
Right now, we're keeping separation. We're getting rid of the plague. It's a plague on our country like nobody's ever seen. But we're winning the battle. We're winning the war. Celebrate. Bring the family together like no other. We have a lot to be thankful for. Happy Easter, everybody.
We're going to connect the dots for anybody who has ears to hear. Some people are going to want to dispute this, but we're not going to argue with anyone. This is what's going on. There is no Q, there is no anonymous that has any information about this government or anything else that's going on. They have been leading you down a path of lies, all to hide the truth. And here's what's really going on. FEMA has more power than the President of the United States or the Congress. It has the power to suspend laws, move entire populations, arrest and detain citizens without a warrant and hold them without trial. It can seize property, food supplies, transportation systems, and can suspend the Constitution. When a state of emergency is declared, Executive Order 11921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over the mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credit, and the flow of money in the U.S. financial institution in any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when a state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review this action for 6 months. Now, with the understanding that after Trump signed the National Emergency Declaration, FEMA took over. Now, this is March 13th, 2020. Listen to what he's going to say now. This is right after he signed the National Emergency into effect.
It is only the beginning of what we're really doing, and now we're in a different phase.
This is only the beginning of what we're really doing, because what they're really doing is putting everything in place to start the New World Order.
Now we're in a different phase.
The different phase that he's speaking of is that he is no longer president, and he has given full power over to FEMA when he signed the National Emergency Declaration.
We had some very old and obsolete rules.
Those old and obsolete rules are also known as the Constitution of the United States.
That we had to live with. It worked under certain circumstances, but not under mass circumstances. Under mass circumstances is being under FEMA rule. They were there for a long time. They were in place for a long time, and we're breaking them down now.
They're definitely breaking them down because the Constitution is suspended.
And they're very usable for certain instances, but not for this.
Because they can't go forward with their plan with the Constitution, our constitutional rights, still intact.
To unleash the full power of the federal government in this effort today, I am officially declaring a national emergency.
So he is officially telling us in a coded message that we are now under the rule of FEMA, no longer having a president. Fast forward to March 19th, 2020, in the FEMA National Response Coordination Center.
Well, Mr. President, Vice President, thank you for being here. Really appreciate your visit to FEMA. I think your visit really, as you indicated last week, by signing the national emergency, has really empowered FEMA.
And he just made the declaration that FEMA is empowered, has really empowered FEMA.
This is the world you are graduating into. This is what I want to talk about today with you for a few minutes. To lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
The affirmative task we have now is to actually create a new world order.
We've got to be very strong, very, very smart, and we've got to come together, not only as a nation, but as a world community.
Because some of these people, this is a new normal. They're never going to go back home. So they want to help them as much so that they're never just walking out of here and feeling like they're going back onto the street. They work with them throughout the process here to help them adjust to this new world order that they're going to be living in after this.
Oh, and I imagine there's so many questions, so much concern, and all of those people. It was almost like on cue when you're talking about the army of volunteers. A flock of nuns walked right behind you.
Somebody didn't want the gray state investigated, explored, and unveiled. That's why David Crowley is dead. He was the writer and director of one of the most controversial movies in modern history, and somebody didn't want him to produce it. What was so threatening about David Crowley and the gray state concept? Like Gray State, many Hollywood films have depicted apocalyptic themes and end-of-the-world scenarios, yet the directors of these films are still alive. Roland Emmerich wasn't murdered after directing blockbusters 2012 and A Day After Tomorrow. Steven Soderbergh wasn't killed after his movie, Contagion. But David Crowley is dead, along with his wife and child. They were killed before the production could be completed. What was so dangerous about Gray State? David Crowley claimed that his movie was based on real events, not Hollywood propaganda like you see in movies such as 2012.
California is going down!
God, you sound like a crazy person. The governor just said we're fine now.
The guy's an actor, he's reading a script!
So the Gray State is essentially an artistic representation of real aspects put into a fictional format. Once you open your eyes and start looking at all these trends like RFID, like martial law, like FEMA, like executive orders, you have to act within your own capacity to sort of, talk about this. A lot of people filter that into the political realm. A lot of people do other things like grassroots style. I mean, I'm a filmmaker, Danny's an actor. So we put our heads together and we started making a project that would act within our own faculty to portray that in a creative manner. So there's a story here. I have to start telling a story. So I was looking for the next film project to work on anyway. I'm like, well, this would be perfect. And it's not really perfect because you have to kind of filter down all this stuff into a narrative storyline that's not just propaganda telling you what's going to happen next, like 2012 or A Day After Tomorrow. It's got to be a human story, and it's got to be enduring and compelling. The way we're different is we're independent, and we don't expect any participation from any studios just because of its contentious nature. I mean, anyone knows that Hollywood has not approached this topic so directly before. That's what makes Gray State so compelling. It's that different. Definitely the trailer is our best efforts to kind of show this world and expose these very real issues that exist in our world today.
David claims that Hollywood has never dealt with topics like RFID, internment camps in America, and detention. Instead, they have produced propaganda in place of real issues. When Hollywood does discuss internment and detention, it's almost always about World War II and the Holocaust. Literally thousands of films have been produced about the Holocaust, and yet one single film that addresses the potential for a Holocaust in the United States is stopped mid-production after its director is murdered. Seems a bit odd, doesn't it? They don't want Americans, Canadians, and other Western countries to know what is coming. And that is a plan to intentionally collapse Western society. If you don't believe me, read the plan that's been in the books for over a century. Planned out by the Illuminati and penned by Albert Pike back in the 1800s in his 3 World War predictions. Gray State was simply too threatening. It revealed too much, not just the obvious points of what could happen with the collapse of a society, things like martial law, food shortages, and a provisional government. It goes beyond this. David knew a secret, and he left it inside of the trailer for Gray State, in plain sight. David Crowley used the Illuminati's favorite game against the notorious cabal. It's a game they've played with the human race for years. They provide clues about the future to toy with us. They did it with 9/11. They've done it with other major catastrophes. It's called predictive programming. On occasion, though, they get outsmarted at their own game. What was David's hidden message inside the gray state? And could it be the reason for his death? Perhaps the scariest part of Gray State's conceptual trailer is this character here, who appears to be operating a guillotine. David Crowley was very intentional in this frame of the movie. He added something that I believe he wanted the people to know about. Who is the identity of this executioner? If you look closely, you will see that this terrifying character is wearing something around his waist. It appears to look like an apron. The executioner wears a Freemason apron, complete with the all-seeing eye, the compass, and the 2 pillars. I do believe David Crowley is trying to tell us something.
为什么强大的国家都会走向灭亡呢？古希腊、罗马帝国、不列颠帝国、美国，因为他们都犯同样的错误，与原来使得他们成功的原则背道而驰。美国政府企图以庞大的开支和税收来摆脱严重的经济衰退，巨额的所谓刺激开支。庞大的医疗改革，政府接管私有企业，债务累累。当然，我们是他们的大债主。现在他们都得给我们干活。
You can change the future. You have to. Join Citizens Against Government Waste to stop the spending that is bankrupting America.
Fast forward to April 10th, 2020. In plain words, it's been my great honor to have been their president. Past tense.
The American people have been so disciplined. It's been my honor to be their president. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll say it always. It's been my great honor to have been their president, and it's been my great honor to have been their president and have been their president, have been their president. I have a big decision coming up, and I only hope to God that it's the right decision, but it'll be based on the input from a lot of very talented people, very smart people, and people that love our country. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Thank you.
He actually will not be making any more decisions. This group of people that he says will be helping him make decisions are the ones that are making decisions now, because it is FEMA that is making the decisions. And as you can hear in this live briefing, Trump obviously does not know what's going on, because he said, you should have let us know, when Mike Pompeo said, we're in a live exercise, a live exercise.
Pompeo says this is a live exercise. And what you'll hear in the background is Donald Trump say, you should have let us know.
This is not about retribution. This matters going forward. We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We need to make sure that even we're in a live exercise here to get this right. We're in a live exercise here to get this right. We're in a live exercise here to get this right.
Does he sound like a man that's in control of anything anymore? He just looks like he has just lost his best friend in all of these videos that we're seeing now ever since he signed the National Emergency Declaration. I'm sure most of us thought that FEMA was created to help people in disasters. But here's the truth about FEMA. FEMA was created in a series of executive orders. A presidential executive order, whether constitutional or not, becomes law simply by its publication in the Federal Registry. Congress is bypassed. Executive Order 12148 created the Federal Emergency Management Agency that is to interface with the Department of Defense for civil defense planning and funding. An emergency czar was appointed. Executive Order 12656 appointed the National Security Council as the principal body that should consider emergency powers. This allows the government to increase domestic intelligence and surveillance of U.S. citizens and would restrict the freedom of movement within the United States and grant the government the right to isolate large groups of civilians. That's where we're at right now, people. We are all being told what to do, where we can and can't go. The National Guard could be federalized to seal all borders and take control of U.S. airspace and all ports of entry. Executive Order 10990 allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control of highways and seaports. Executive Order 10995 allows the government to seize and control the communications media. Executive Order 10997 allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuels, and minerals. Executive Order 10998 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 11000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under government supervision. Executive Order 11001 allows the government to take over all health, education, and welfare functions. Executive Order 11002 designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. That's where your census comes in. Executive Order 11003 allows the government to take over all airports and aircraft, including commercial aircraft. Executive Order 11004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, designate areas to be abandoned, and establish new locations for populations. Executive Order 11005 allows the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Executive Order 11051 specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tensions and economic or financial crisis. Executive Order 11310 grants authority to the Department of Justice to enforce the plans set out in executive orders, to institute industrial support, to establish judicial and legislative liaison, to control all aliens, to operate penal and correctional institutions. And Executive Order 11049 assigns emergency preparedness function to federal departments and agencies, consolidating 21 operative executive orders issued over a 15-year period.
I had been to Puyallup a few times when it was the fairgrounds of Western Washington. Little did I know that I would replace the pigs and the cows and that type of stuff, you know, because they restructured the fairgrounds and the parking lots into these temporary hovels. And they had a hell of a lot of nerve calling it Camp Harmony. But anyway, it was, it was a real traumatic type of living, where you're in the former stalls where the pigs and the cows and everything else were. Families of 6 and 7 were crowded into one little spot.
Santa Anita Racetrack, for example, suddenly became a community of about 17,000 persons. The Army provided housing and plenty of healthful, nourishing food for all.
The government painted a rosy picture of these detention centers and downplayed the prison-like conditions, calling imprisoned people evacuees, residents, and even colonists. After a few months, detainees were transferred to 10 long-term camps across the country. These were in remote areas on unused desert or swampland.
At each relocation center, evacuees were met by an advance contingent of Japanese who had arrived some days earlier and who now acted as guides.
Officially, they were called relocation centers, but many, including President Roosevelt, commonly called them concentration camps.
Relocation centers are not normal and probably never can be. Home life is disrupted.
Although government films acknowledged that life was not ideal, they never addressed the injustice of the camps. 2/3 of those incarcerated were U.S. citizens, and there were no hearings or trials held to determine if they did anything wrong or were dangerous.
We are Americans, part of something larger than ourselves. For 2 centuries, we've done the hard work of freedom, and tonight we lead the world in facing down a threat to decency and humanity. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
Hopefully this has opened some of your eyes so that you can see where we're at in this timeline. This is true. This is what's going on. These are facts. Y'all have a blessed day.
Oh, shut up, silly woman, said the reptile with a grin. You knew damn well I was a snake before you took me in.
I'm the hand of Mona Lisa's skirt. I'm a surprise, Kevin. They don't see me coming. That's what you're missing.
Then his other hand went up inside my skirt.
Somebody I want you to meet. Kevin and Marianne Lomax. This is Senator Alphonse D'Amato. Ambassador Charles Gagano. In case you didn't know, these are the Republicans of New York.
You know, Barjoon always overstates things.
Donald Trump was supposed to be here tonight, but he had a business emergency. Probably Mark Zuckerman.
In case you didn't know, these are the Republicans of New York.
You know, Barjoon always overstates things.
Donald Trump was supposed to be here tonight, but he had a business emergency. Probably Mark Zuckerman.
Mr. Murdo?
You're on.
Mr. Murdo? For God's sake, man.
Every time I think about Trump, I get allergic.
Why do we have to keep going?
Because it needs to be clear, Mr. Cullen. Because I need to know and understand exactly what happened. You're standing there. You look down. There's the gun. You kneel down to pick it up.
You work late, you come home, you walk in, everybody's dead. It's not something you planned for.
Stop. Back up. 2 prints by the gun. Right hand, right knee. Right knee.
We have been over this.
I'm trying to picture it. I'm trying to picture it. Your hand. Your hand came from inside and underneath.
I'm the hand of Mona Lisa's skirt.
Then his other hand went up inside my skirt.
Why do I feel the hand of Mary Ann on this adventure?
The person on my right, who unbeknownst to me at that time was Donald Trump, put their hand up my skirt.
Your hand came from inside and underneath.
I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the...
You ever ask God for forgiveness? That's a tough question. I don't think in terms of, I'm a religious person. Shockingly, because people are so shocked when they find this out, I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian. And I go to church and I love God and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale was my pastor. The power of positive thinking. Everybody's heard of Norman Vincent Peale. He was so great. He would give a sermon you never wanted to leave. Sometimes we have sermons, and every once in a while we think about leaving a little early, right, even though we're Christian. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Frank, would give a sermon. I'm telling you, I still remember his sermons. It was unbelievable. And what he would do is he'd bring real-life situations, modern-day situations, into the sermon. And you could listen to him all day long. When you left the church, you were disappointed that it was over. He was the greatest guy. And then, you know, he passed away, but he was a great... He wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, which is a great book.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
Looking like we have a deal on Gaza, and we'll let you know.
Mr. President.
I think it's a deal that will get the hostages back. It's going to be a deal that will end the war. It's going to be a deal it's going to be peace.
Peace and security.
The lesson of history is that peace and security do not come easily.
Peace and stability that people on all sides long for.
Two states for two peoples living side by side in peace and security is not a vague slogan, but a real necessity for the stability in the entire region.
Currently stationed in the vicinity of this peninsula are the three largest aircraft carriers in the world, loaded to the maximum with magnificent F-35 and F-18 fighter jets. In addition, we have nuclear submarines appropriately positioned. The United States, under my administration, is completely rebuilding its military and is spending hundreds of billions of dollars to the newest and finest military equipment anywhere in the world being built right now. I want peace through strength.
Israel and Palestinians, they can live side by side in peace and security. This is our vision, and this is our commitment.
Of a new deal, peace and security and friendship.
My hopes and dreams for Israel are to live in peace and security.
Two states living side by side in peace and security.
To every American who's terrified that Crooked Joe's weakness will cause catastrophic global conflict, excuse me, it already is. I make this promise to you as president. I will restore peace through strength, and we will stop World War III. We will not have World War III.
But for God's sake, don't hit those oil wells.
Out here is a war. Now you're here for one reason. No matter what happens, nothing happens until it happens on television.
Right. But before you take the oil wells, remember, we're taking a 3-minute commercial break.
Right.
And I know all the players. I know them all.
True security for all Israelis. We will also pursue peace between Israel and Lebanon.
In peace and security.
Israel and Syria.
Peace and security.
And a broader peace between Israel and its many neighbors.
We are helping the Republic of Korea far beyond what any other country has ever done. And in the end, we will work things out far better than anybody understands or can even appreciate. I know that the Republic of Korea, which has become a tremendously successful nation, will be a faithful ally of the United States very long into the future.
Must decide whether we are serious about peace and security. To recognize Israel's legitimacy and its right to exist in peace and security. That's how we will find new pathways to peace and security. That is the work that we must do.
I know more.
Peace and security and coexistence.
A movement towards peace. If we have this triangle, economy, security, and peace, then peace can succeed.
I'm holding in my hand the Trump-Netanyahu coin. This coin is surrounded by a sentence, as well as depicting the two great leaders themselves, a sentence from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And the exact quote is, "The sons of light will defeat the sons of darkness." And that is the period we're living in right now. We're living in a war of good against evil, of light against darkness, of holiness against profanity, and good will prevail. The light will overcome the darkness.
It was a time when outer space was filled with incredible machines, whose eyes and ears recorded our most sensitive secrets.
2 atom bombs. Fake! I can smell it. There are no atom bombs. There never was.
Will he blow up New York? According to this report, yes, sir. Secrets that could and did change the fate of nations. And one man was witness to what we all would soon come to know.
How is the love life of a superstar?
Oh, it has its ups and downs.
A man who spoke with terrorists.
Makes killing a pleasure.
Presidents.
Well, don't say yes and don't say no. Don't say maybe. Say you'll call back, but don't. That's how you stay president.
And kings.
Tomorrow is the most important day of my life.
A man who must discover the truth before it's too late.
But if the people know the truth...
Attack now, Mr. President. Hit him first.
Good guys never shoot first.
Why not?
I will not go down in history as the president who started World War III.
It all could have happened in the recent past.
I am sick and tired of the gays and lesbians, the bar-hopping harlots, yapping about their unconstitutional, ungodly rights. It's time for the true Christians to come out of the closet.
I am Charlie Kirk.
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 I am Charlie Kirk. I am Charlie Kirk.
I am Charlie Kirk. We saw the largest march that our area has seen yet. Protesters began at the Brentwood Promenade, then marched along Eager Road to South Hanley. The march was peaceful and it went on for more than 3 hours last night. Now the marchers returned to Brentwood just in time for curfew, which began at 9 o'clock. The Brentwood curfew then expired at 5:30 this morning.
Speak up. Say something. Find out why. Because some of us have sons. And when I seen that video of George Floyd, I didn't see George Floyd. I saw my son. I saw my brother. I saw every African American man that I have a relationship with. So yes, if you ask the African American community, we are angry. Yes, we are. But I know we can get through this. And I just employ my white brothers and sisters. Use your influence. Step up. Speak out. Love. So that we can see that we're not in this thing alone.
And we are just getting started.
You guys give me great hope. God bless you guys.
For the present. Or even in the near future. But it didn't. It happened in that elusive time between now and later. That time when dark is light, when down is up, when foul is fair, when...
You know what, sometimes what you leave out of a story is even more interesting than what you leave in. That happened when we were in Oxford, Maryland. Learned that the pride of that old town was one Robert Morris Jr., the financier of the American Revolution. Years ago, we used to go down to the county library to get a picture of a bird like that, but now we just use the internet. That's where I found this picture here. Now, the caption said it was a shot of the Greek god Mercury handing a bag of loot to Robert Morris, the financier of the American Revolution. Well, that's just a tiny part of a much bigger picture called the apotheosis of Washington. Now, apotheosis is a Greek word that means to make divine. In other words, this painting shows George Washington becoming a god. Now, I never knew that happened. But there it is for all to see, painted under the most famous dome in the whole country, maybe the whole world, the United States Capitol. Now, the most interesting part of this particular heaven are the folks that live in it. Now, you'd expect to see Moses and Abraham and Ezekiel and that crowd hanging around, but not a single fella from the Bible is up there. Now, Minerva, the Roman goddess of crafts and wisdom, is shown delivering an electrical generator and batteries and a printing press to Benjamin Franklin, Samuel Morse, and Robert Fulton. And Neptune, the Roman sea god, and Venus, the goddess of love, are shown helping to lay the transatlantic telegraph cable. I'll bet you they were a big help. Now, there's some other gods, but not a single prophet, apostle, or even a lower archangel in the whole 4,500 square feet. All I know is what I read on the internet, but you hear a lot of talk these days about the religious beliefs of our founding fathers. Now, those boys may have been as devout as saints. We'll never know. One thing's for sure, you'd never tell by looking at Capitol Dome. Charles Paparella, WBOC News.
you ready for it?
It's one more reason Delta is more than just a faucet. See what Delta can do.
Wake up! Wake up!
Wake up. Come on, wake up. Wake up.
Please, wake up.
The name of the Lord, they will surely